welcome to my channel. Today I want to talk about the link between spasmodic dysphonia and anxiety. Doctors will tell you that spasmodic dysphonia is not a life-threatening condition, but I would argue that that is not true. The life that I knew before I had spasmodic dysphonia was not in any way, shape, or form the same kind of life that I had when I was afflicted with the condition. So, another thing that doctors won't tell you is that you can heal it. You will ultimately be the expert that will help yourself navigate out of spasmodic dysphonia. There are a couple of factors that are happening simultaneously. Often when we have spasmodic dysphonia, we were already riddled with some anxiety and some nervous system dysregulation before we came down with the condition. However, once we have the condition, that also snowballs the anxiety. And there are a couple of reasons why this happens. Well, first and foremost are our faulty beliefs about the condition. We mistakenly think that we are less than or not good enough because we have this condition, which is completely untrue. And in order to heal it, we have to kind of get to the root of that on one hand. And then on the other hand, there is this thing that happens where we are constantly in fight or flight, which then interrupts the ability of the brain and the vagus nerve to communicate properly. In addition, we also have some other factors weighing on us. In order to develop spasmodic dysphonia to begin with, we have to have a couple of toxins or pathogens in our bodies that are also weighing in on the nerves. When we have spasmodic dysphonia, we have a form of Epstein Barr virus. We also have heavy metals like mercury in our bodies. So those actually are also working on our nervous system and causing anxiety. So anxiety is coming from a couple of different sources. We have the thoughts and the beliefs that are creating the anxiety, the fear of being judged, the fear of not being able to communicate what we want to say properly. And then we have this other kind of more of a physiological thing that's happening in our bodies, which is the viruses and the metals creating neurotoxins, which are getting into the little openings in the myelin sheath of the nerve and causing this inflammation that actually impedes communication from the brain and to the vagus nerve, which is controlling the voice function. So we have to kind of combat this from all angles. And it's really interesting because as the spasmodic dysphonia heals, so does the anxiety. And so it comes hand in hand, and they both have the same root causes, because what's causing the spasmodic dysphonia is also keeping the other nerves in your brain on alert. And then, of course, we have another factor, which also are our adrenal glands. The adrenal glands are also playing a part in all of this because the thoughts and the beliefs are keeping the adrenal glands pumping adrenaline. And then also they are getting attacked by the viruses and the metals as well. And so it's this whole big chain of events that is happening. In addition, they get to be faulty on their own because of overusage and also because of the attack from the viruses and the metals on the adrenals. They weaken, they aren't working properly, they're sputtering, they're releasing too much adrenaline at times, causing just instant anxiety. Even if we don't already have an anxious thought, then this adrenaline will prompt that because our brain perceives the adrenaline and says, oh, there must be danger. We have to be on alert right now. So it's this whole big snowball effect that happens. And in order to start healing it, we have to begin learning how to just keep ourselves as calm as possible. And one of the ways we can do that is by starting to disarm those disempowering thoughts. Those thoughts about not enoughness, about unworthiness, about being less than because we have this vocal condition. Now, I want to just direct you to think about the fact that when people have laryngitis and you're around them, like nobody ever says, oh, well, they're just not good enough because they have laryngitis. They can't really speak today. No, most people are saying, of course, we've all been there. We understand. It just happens sometimes. We get down with a cold or a flu and it happens to us. Well, this is sort of what has happened to us too. We have gotten down with a virus and we are having some impairment, and that's okay. That doesn't mean that you are less than or not as worthwhile, and that your message that you want to share is not just as important. Not to mention the fact that most people are not even judging us the way we perceive or fear that they are. In fact, most of them are so worried about their own lives, their own things, they are not even concerned with what's happening to us. So we're having a conversation with them and they say something like, oh, could you repeat that? I didn't quite catch that, or something along those lines. And you instantly, adrenalize because you're like, they're judging me. They're thinking I'm terrible. I'm horrible. And in fact, they're not. They're just like, oh, I want to make sure I got that right. And so and they're not even thinking a thing about it. So that is one way of starting to disarm those thoughts and those beliefs that are probably droning in your brain. I know they were for me. I would have such social anxiety when I would have to go and talk to someone, especially someone I didn't know very well, or even if it was someone that I knew well, it was even more pressure because I felt like they were going to be like, oh, no, that Kathy, she's just poor pathetic thing. She can't talk. And in fact, they weren't doing that at all. But I made up this big story in my mind that that's what they were going to be doing. And I'm sure you're guilty of it too. So what we need to do is just start unwinding that and keeping that from having such a hold over us. Because if you're watching this channel, you are starting to learn to heal yourself. And once you start to learn to heal yourself, you have faith that this is just temporary. It's a temporary state of affairs. Even if you've had it for a long period of time, you still potentially can heal because the body always wants to heal itself. So we have to remember that. Our body's always working for us. And now we're going to begin giving it the tools that it needs to start killing off the viruses, to start detoxing the metals out, to start relaxing the nervous system by rewiring the thoughts surrounding this. I want to just play a clip of what my voice used to sound like.
And through the recent pandemic, as well as other health challenges and life circumstances.
So as you can see, I struggled. I barely could speak above a whisper. I had a mixed SD, in which means that sometimes it was super just breathy, and sometimes it would also have those interruptions in my voice. I don't have footage of me when I was actually at my very worst because I had such shame around my voice that I didn't want to remember it. I didn't want to think about it. It was such a painful experience for me to even hear myself. I couldn't even bear the thought of someone videoing it or like audio recording. So just bear that in mind. Sometimes people are quick to say, oh, mine's much worse than yours sounds. So is it possible even for me to heal if your voice is not as bad as mine? Of course it is. It's the same root cause, and it's just possibly different nerves or branches of the vagus nerve. I say vagus nerve a lot because that's the main meridian that's going down your body, controlling all sorts of things. But the thing is, the branches that are stemming from that are actually the ones that are doing the fine tuning of all the different muscles and things that have to happen in order for you to produce a voice. It's pretty intricate and it's pretty amazing when you get down to the science of it. And no wonder it starts to malfunction when we have a disruption of communication. All we got to do is give our body the chance to repair the nerves, get rid of the things that are keeping the inflammation, and then we have a shot at turning this condition around. As we begin to heal our voices, we can rest assured that our anxiety can calm down. And when we feel those anxious bursts of adrenaline for no reason, we don't have to pay attention to them and heed the warning of danger that's coming along with those bursts of adrenaline. We can talk ourselves off the ledge and say, oh, it's just my adrenal glands that are misfiring right now, and I don't need to pay attention to this. I give myself permission to calm down and go outside, do some tapping, do some breath work. You can even do some butterfly tapping. You can just calm yourself down. Any given moment, we have the power to bring it back to ourselves instead of giving it all away to the people around us and the surrounding circumstances all the time. Well, if you are listening to this, I know that you are interested in healing yourself. I'm so excited to tell you about a 5-day challenge I have coming up, April 30th through May 4th. The registration for that, I'll put the link below, and then also see the QR code at the end of this video to register for that. You do not want to miss it, because this is your chance. This is your wake-up call to start working on healing yourself. I know you guys want to heal your voices. This is your chance. I am your guide. I have successfully done that and had my voice back for 4 years. It's an amazing gift, and I do not take it for granted every day. And I want you all to experience that too. So please join me for the free 5-day challenge. I hope to see you again on my next video. I'll see you next time. Once again, here's the QR code to register for the free 5-day challenge.